Welcome to Marine Tech Talk, a podcast about how Teledyne Marine's innovative technologies are enabling scientific discoveries and commercial tasks in the world's oceans and waterways. In this fall series of podcasts, we introduce some of the winners and general entrants from the 2020 Teledyne Marine Photo Contest. Teledyne's annual photo and data contest concluded with over 80 qualified submissions that helped the company donate more than $1,200 to Save the Children as part of our charitable giving campaign. In this final episode of the Teledyne Marine Photo Contest series, we chat with Jhon Mojica, a polar oceanographer from the Center for Global Sea Level Change at New York University in Abu Dhabi. Jhon submitted 2 images of a mooring deployment that incorporated a Benthos R2K Acoustic Release. Jhon's research work focuses on ocean dynamics in polar regions and interactions with ice shelves, characterizing the effects of sea level rise in coastal cities such as Abu Dhabi. Now here's Jhon Mojica with the host of Marine Tech Talk, Melissa Rossi.
Welcome to Marine Tech Talk, and thank you to everyone who's joining us for today's show. Today I'm speaking with Jhon Mojica, a research associate at the Center for Global Sea Level Change at New York University in Abu Dhabi. Jhon, along with many other participants, entered our Teledyne Marine Photo Contest earlier this year, helping us to donate $1,200 for Save the Children, a charitable campaign that Teledyne Marine ran in conjunction with our annual photo contest this year. Hi, Jhon. How are you?
Hi, Melissa. I'm great. And you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Jhon, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and the Center for Global Sea Level Change at New York University in Abu Dhabi?
Well, let me start with just short background. I'm a physics. I got my bachelor degree in physics in Universidad Distrital in Bogotá, Colombia. I'm originally from Colombia. And after I moved on to Barcelona, Spain, where I got my master and PhD degree in physical oceanography. And then I started searching for job, basically. I found a great opportunity that reached my expectations and was about the polar ocean, what is happening in these areas. And I tried to move to this field called polar oceanography, where I start to be involved here at the New York University Abu Dhabi.
Okay. So the photos that you took and submitted to the contest stated that you were working near Thwaites Glacier in Antarctica. Was that actually where your study was taking place? And what research were you conducting near the glacier?
Well, here as a research associated at the Center for Global Sea Level Change, one of my duties is to go to the field and take some measurements to analyze what is happening or to figure out the interaction between the sea ice and what is happening, how is the retreatment that we already hear about, the retreatment of the glaciers, the climate change, the sea level is rising. So one of the, so I already told you, one of my duties is go there, take data to know if this is true or fake. Yes. So in last year, I got the opportunity to participate in a survey on board of the research vessel Around from South Korea, and also with a project called the ITGC, that is the International Thwaites Glacier Collaboration, a huge project between the NSF and the NERC from the British, to study this glacier, the Thwaites Glacier. Somebody called it the Doomsday Glacier. So I got the opportunity to be there, to deploy some oceanographic equipment to know what is happening with this area. That is a relevant area that if we have to pay attention because they can increase the sea level if for several meters, feet.
Yes. So I had actually heard about that multinational effort out at Thwaites Glacier. We, believe it or not, one of the other photo submissions that came in this year was from a researcher down at the University of Tasmania who was at Thwaites Glacier, possibly with the same at the same time, with a giant AUV that was looking underneath the ice at the conditions and the flow under the ice. So it's interesting to see how many researchers from really around the globe came together to look at this very serious, very important issue. The interesting thing, if we go back to the photos that you submitted, you submitted actually two photos. One showed a mooring string sitting on the deck of a ship, and the other showed the mooring string, it looked like just being deployed into the waters just off Thwaites Glacier. Can you tell us a little bit about what was actually on the mooring string and what your specific research is trying to look at near the glacier?
Yes, well, regarding the two photos, yes, I submit those two in the position exactly in the glacier front, so it's glacier front, before the deployment of the equipment. The idea, this equipment, is relevant to identify or to record the wave pressure variability that allow us to identify how much energy the ocean can give to the glacier to increase the melting or this variation in the area. So just the photo was, we have to take advantage at any opportunity. So at that time, you can see a little bit of blurry because it was a little bit of snowy and rocky, the vessel. The deployment was not easy. But we found a location and we have to take opportunity of every minute that we are on board. So we reached the location. We deployed 3 moorings in 3 different locations that help us to make a triangulation that help us to identify the wave direction, where this wave is coming from, and how can affect how can impact the glacier front. And we deploy, of course, some sonometer, iridium, and R2 Teledyne acoustic, the R2K acoustic release.
Okay. The acoustic release, of course, is, for our listeners who aren't aware, the release is really the bottommost part. It's not the sensor, but it's so important because when you deploy a mooring, it's the release on the bottom, right? So explain to us why that's so important.
Sometimes the people just think about, the equipment, just the instruments, the ones that are measuring the variables are important, but everything is important here in all this change, in this case in mooring, and the R2K here is so important. Otherwise, if this equipment doesn't work well, we can retrieve the mooring and we lose the data. So that's why we choose in this case this equipment, because we already know we have been also working in Greenland in Helheim, over the Disco Bay and the Sermilik, where we already use this kind of equipment, deploying some other moorings that also were describing what is happening with the ocean currents in this area. But yes, the acoustic release is relevant, and we have to trust in them. Otherwise, we doesn't know what's happening.
Otherwise, your work is for naught.
Or not? Yes, absolutely.
So, how long is that mooring string intended to stay down there? Have you already pulled it back up again? How long was it underwater?
No. Just, every single research in Antarctica, to be there is so difficult. So that's why to come back to that area, if everything runs well, under these changing times, the idea is to come back in the summer of 2021 to 2022 to retrieve the mooring. So they're going to spend there 2 years taking measurements of these waves, this variability. well, let's see if we can figure out how much energy the ocean can transfer to the glacier front.
Are you able to extract any of that data from those mooring strings in the meantime while you're waiting, or do you have to wait until you recover the mooring string to get your data?
No, just we have to wait. That's why we have the finger crossed, waiting for everything runs well. We already make the numbers, the endurance balance, the sample frequency to long last as much as we can, and get the mooring back at the surface. Well, let's see.
Yes, so we'll have our fingers crossed for you, because hopefully once you are able to extract the moorings back and get some of your data, maybe we could have you back on the show so we can have a little follow-up after you've had a chance to analyze your data.
Absolutely, because also it's not easy just to reach that area. This is one of the most remote areas in the planet right now. I already tried to reach that area to deploy the same moorings now I can say 3 years ago. That was impossible because in our way to reach that point on board of the vessel, the Around, in the middle of the expedition, one guy from the crew get injured his back, and we have to turn back. So we lose 15 days, from that area to come back to Christchurch in New Zealand, and
wow.
So we can't reach that place. So sometimes it's difficult, and every study in the ocean is unpredictable.
Right. Yeah, hard to get to and also expensive, to mount that type of an effort to get all of your equipment, that far out in the world is really hard.
Yes, that's why we took advantage. For example, I'm part of the ITGC. We have 8 different projects, and I'm one that is called MELT. And this project was led by David Holland. And with this project, we get the opportunity to get some funds to reach that area. Otherwise, it's almost impossible. There's not a commercial flight or something to be there. So we have to take opportunities for different collaborations. International collaborations are so relevant at this point, so have to take advantage.
Yeah, I hope that you're as successful going back next summer so that you're able to go and recover your equipment and actually finally look at the data that you've collected in the meantime. So our thoughts will be with you. Hopefully the weather won't stop you and COVID won't stop you. Because right now the whole world is exploding again, I think.
Well, many variables around. We doesn't know. For example, right now, I guess that most of, or maybe all Antarctic expeditions were suspended for this Antarctic summer. Right now, just there are some trips, for refurbishing or change the crew down there. But a scientific expedition, there's no right now. So let's see if the next year everything improves. Also protocols, because maybe just to be there, we have to fly to one country, wait 15 days, and make another test, and come back. And let's see how everything's evolves.
Yes, I'm sure it won't be without its challenges. Well, we wish you all the best of luck. Thank you very much for joining us today on the show. This has been delightful. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Melissa.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Marine Tech Talk podcast. If you'd like more information on the activities at the Center for Global Sea Level Change, we'll put a link to the center's Twitter account in the notes for this episode, as well as the Twitter account for Jhon Mojica. If you have any questions or comments about this show, you can email host Melissa Rossi at marinetechtalk@teledyne.com. If you like this podcast, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're hearing this show. That way, you'll never miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time.